Hello, beautiful people. I'm sending you good vibes and a great big hug. Welcome back to Be Better with Suzan. So today I have a special guest with me, and I will introduce you to her in a bit. But I wanted to start off with something I found on Instagram. It's a page that I follow by the name of Vibe Source. And each day they release really wonderful content. So I thought I would share that with you today. Okay. It says financial abundance and well-being are on the way. Continue moving in the direction of your passion and inner calling. Your environment mirrors your inside world. If you lack finances, you have a lack mindset. Change the way you look at money. Money itself isn't bad. How we use our money reveals our character. Now is the time to upgrade your mentality towards money so you can attract an abundance of it. Like they say, whatever you focus on grows, whatever you think about expands. So think about the money, think about success, think about happiness. And I wanted to share that with you once again. They're on Instagram, Vibe Source, VYBE Source. And I thought it was cool to share with you. So I want to introduce our guest today. She's my friend, and she is amazing. She's going to share her story on her mental health journey. Sarah Hornstein is in the house.
Hello.
Hi, babe. How are you doing?
Doing good.
Awesome. Thank you for being here. So fun fact about us, I met Sarah through her husband, Dan Hornstein.
Whoop, whoop.
Shout out to Dan. So we worked together at a mattress firm. Golly, it's been a long time ago because I was there for about 7 years. So I met Dan, love him to death. And then Sarah is his wife. So they're the best, the Hornsteins. So let me ask you, how have you been doing during this pandemic?
Oh, well, most of this stuff during the pandemic, like I've been doing before, so.
Like you said earlier, like, hey, it's okay. I don't need a hug. I don't need to talk to people.
Yeah, it's great. I've been at home, I like having Dan there more.
Yeah.
But other than that, I've been doing the same stuff.
That's awesome. So you guys are doing well.
Yes.
Things are good.
Yes.
Tell us a fun fact about you.
A fun fact about me. I am a secret One Direction fan.
Ooh, One Direction. Okay.
Yes, I typically listen to like rock music, things like that, but I do like my little boy band. They split up, but I still like listening to their music.
They're good. Yeah, One Direction rocks. That's awesome. So I want to ask about you. Tell us about you, Sarah.
So a little bit about me. I am 33 years old. I live down in League City, Texas, of course, with my husband, Dan. We don't have any children, but we have a cute little dog named Callie that we've been having for 8 years. She's a lazy couch dog. She's my favorite. Also, too, I am on the board of directors for NAMI Greater Houston. I'm a big volunteer there, and I'm also someone who lives with a mental health condition and live in mental health recovery.
Okay, wonderful. And I can't wait to hear more about that. But for those out there that aren't familiar with NAMI, can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so the acronym for NAMI stands for the National Alliance on Mental Illness. And what we do is we provide support, education, and advocacy for people living with a mental health condition and their friends and family. We offer great support groups, we offer great classes, and all of them's free. So
I love that. And how long have you been volunteering with NAMI?
I've been volunteering since 2017. I first went to the NAMI class, the peer-to-peer class for people who have a mental health condition in 2016. And fun fact, I was the only person to go to all 10 classes.
Oh, look at you. I love that. And tell us a little bit more about the support groups and just, I feel like during this pandemic, I'm sure it's tough for a lot of people that have already, potentially experiencing some mental health conditions or some experiences, and with this pandemic I'm sure it can be tougher. So how about the support groups? Where could they look into that at?
Yeah, so to get a list of our support groups and to get in touch with the facilitators, you could go to namigreaterhouston.org. They have where you can look up all of our classes, sign up for them, look up our support groups, get the links for them. And also they have a warm line through the C Center, the Support Education and Advocacy Center, where you can call and actually talk to someone who lives in mental health condition, as well as getting great resources throughout the affiliate area, which is both Montgomery, Harris, and Fort Bend counties.
That's awesome. And you actually have your own support group, right?
I do, yes.
Tell us about it.
I do. So I am the facilitator of 2 support groups, actually.
Amazing.
One down in Bay Area in Clear Lake, and then the other one in Baytown. But because of COVID-19, I've put them both together. So if you're from Baytown or Clear Lake, you can come to the group.
That's awesome. I love that. Okay. How does volunteering for NAMI, how does that help you as well? Because like you mentioned earlier, you're also on your mental health recovery. So how does working or volunteering for NAMI help you?
Well, it helps me greatly because one of the things that really challenged me in my mental health recovery was I had a bad experience at a job at a call center. You know, I was there, it was very volatile, not only being around the people who would call in about their orders and yell at you and stuff, but you take a beating all day just getting that negative reaction and stuff. And so I started looking into things in Houston that I could do, and that's whenever I found NAMI. And I started going to their class, like I said, the peer-to-peer class. I started getting involved too because at that time I was using state services to try and go back to work. They call it vocational rehab. And I just didn't like the things that were out there. And I knew from going to the class at NAMI that they could help me with my vocational journey. So not only are they helping me mentally, they're helping me learn different skills that I could use in the workplace.
I love that. And I've been friends with you for quite some time, and I've seen you evolve so much with NAMI, and I'm proud of you, girlfriend. I really am. And I love that you're involved with them, and also you sit on the board of directors.
I know, who would have thunk it?
So tell us more about that. I want to hear more about that.
So it's my first term on the board of directors. I am the youngest, so that's a little overwhelming at times, but all the people that are there are all great people.
Yeah.
They've worked in various different jobs, I guess you could say, careers in Houston, and they're great to be around. You know, they either have the experience of being the person with the mental health condition or the family member, or sometimes both. So it's great.
Yeah, and you're right. If we're not experiencing any mental health situations personally, our family, our loved ones are affected by it, right? So it's just great to be involved and to be aware and learn as much as possible. So I love that. Share with us a little bit about what you'll be talking with us today.
So I'll basically just be telling you guys about my mental health journey, where I started and where I'm going.
I'm excited to hear that. I really am. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'm going to ask a question, and then we're going to go ahead and commercial after that, and we'll continue because I am just inspired by your story. So there was a point in your life where you faced some adversity, Sarah. Tell us about it.
I can sum up the adversities through my life with 4 different spots. So whenever I was younger, my mom had an affair with one of our neighbors, which caused my dad to start drinking heavily, and it just created a whole mess with our family. You know, are they going to divorce? They decided not to stay together, but it was volatile as well. So how do you come up from that as an 8-year-old? The second one I can say was whenever I first moved in with my husband, I had left a job where I was making great money. I was a hairstylist, I still am. I was making great money, and then I go from a job to where I'm barely making minimum wage. I'd be lucky if I made $125 a week, and that doesn't pay your bills.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Also, too, I'm moving from my parents' house and with my boyfriend, and just a lot of different things going on.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be uncommon for me to, let's say, have 2 days off in a row. I would be asleep all those 2 days and then have to get up after that at 9 o'clock and go to work.
Yeah.
So it was a very hard struggle for that because I was trying to figure out, who am I in this world? I was 22 whenever we first moved in together. So that's still fresh out of high school, beauty school and all of that. The third one I would say is whenever I first went to a psychiatric hospital. I did try to commit suicide in 2011. I got sent to a psychiatric hospital in New Orleans. I can definitely tell my life shifted from there in a positive way, which was the good thing to come out of the whole episode. And then the fourth one, like we were talking about, when I left that call center job, because of the volatility, I let that take hold of me, and it brought me down in so many ways. I got to where I didn't want to leave the house. As you know, I stayed at home all the time. I didn't go anywhere. I was afraid to. I would only go to like Target and my therapist's office.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
And with going to therapy and being on psychiatric medications and stuff, I'm making it, baby steps at a time. It took me probably 2 years to get out of my house, but I did it, and I'm still learning each day to follow those same things as well. I was able to go last year to the NAMI National Convention in Seattle, and I flew up there by myself. So I think that's like great progress.
Heck yeah, I'm proud of you, babe. And Dan, is proud of you as well. I hear it, and I've seen you evolved. And once again, I'm happy for you.
Yeah, thank
and
you.
And taking baby steps, that's what it's all about,
Thank
right?
you, yeah.
And you're getting better and stronger, and I see you with more joy and happier. So it's amazing, and I'm excited to be a part of your journey.
Yeah, thank you.
I really am. Okay, so let's take a look here. So I would like to ask you. I would like to ask a question, but I'm going to ask the question. You can think about it, and then we're going to come back from a commercial.
Okay.
So the question is, what are some of the factors that contributed to your situation during that time? Okay. And we are going to commercial, and we will be right back.
The right tax team is key to any successful business. At America's Tax Firm, our goal is to help individuals and businesses of all sizes with accounting solutions and tax strategies that yield profitability, sustainability, and growth. At America's Tax Firm, we have a team of experienced tax consultants and advisors that can help your company optimize business strategies to minimize taxes and reduce liabilities. From preparing and filing your personal or business taxes, or choosing the right legal structure for your business, to resolving complex tax issues with the IRS. America's Tax Firm is your turnkey solution. Take a strong and decisive step and let America's Tax Firm be part of your success.
Our nation is being seriously affected, not only emotionally, but also clinically. Parents or guardians dealing with a teenager in crisis that require transport to an appropriate treatment facility makes that decision even more difficult. My Armor Services Transport is here to help. Their agents are personal protection officers and private investigators, state certified and trained to accommodate firm boundaries and de-escalations, all while recognizing your loved one's sense of individuality and dignity. Most times your loved one will not respond favorably to being placed in a treatment program. Positive and safe transportation assistance becomes critical when violent or defiant behavior to a placement is anticipated. My Armor Services Transport understands this is a difficult time for you and your family. They are committed to transporting your loved one with dignity, respect, securely, and with compassion. Let them assist with this heavy burden. Call today at 1-800-341-0919 and let My Armor Services Transport be the first strong step you take toward resolving this difficult and complicated issue. COVID-19 transformed the way we do business. Now more than ever, fast lead generation and customer retention will determine if a business survives or not. The Now Media Video Business Card is designed to be sent using your smartphone. It's the next generation business card that will open the door for you while keeping social distancing. The Now Media Video Business Card is affordable for anyone from startups to multinational companies and is already being used by hundreds of businesses. Stay open, stay in business. Call us today.
Hi there. Welcome back to Be Better with Suzan. I have an amazing guest in studio today. She's my friend as well, Sarah Hornstein. So before commercial break, I asked, what were some of the factors that contributed to your situation during that time?
Yeah, so I'd like to circle back to 2011,
Okay.
The factors that went into me having a suicide attempt. I had previously thought, I don't want to be a hairstylist anymore. I want to be a dental assistant. How that came about, I really honestly can't remember. That's one of the things that can be a symptom of depression and anxiety, which I'm diagnosed with, is memory loss. And so I don't remember a lot of things, but I remember going to school to be a dental assistant and all of that. I did one of those, 6-month things, and you get your certificate. And then I went to work for a dentist. This guy was a periodontist. And so I was doing surgery right out of being a dental assistant school. So I was definitely shooting for the stars on that one. But because I was going through my mental health struggles at the time without knowing, I was getting my energy down really, really low to where I was drinking Red Bulls all day. I was drinking Cokes all day, not really getting any water, not really eating. To get energy, I was taking those diet pills that have a ton of caffeine in there. I was having body aches, so I was taking ibuprofen every day. It just, a lot of things were happening, and so you're putting all that stuff into your body as well as your mind is not understanding what's going on. That's what contributed a lot to me having my suicide attempt. I remember it. Now, that's one thing I remember vividly is how everything happened up to that point. I had got called into the dentist's office, and he told me that out of his 15 years as a dentist, that I was one of the worst dental assistants he's ever had. And of course, I'm working really hard trying to do my best at this job, and I'm eating crow every day from this guy, and it's like, what is there to do? So the next day I had to go to work, and I told my husband, I said, I don't feel like going to work. That guy, I don't like him. I don't want to go there, and I'm not doing it. And that obviously made him mad because we needed both incomes. Yeah. So we got into a big fight about it. I had been fighting with my parents because they wanted money, and it was just coming from me at all angles. And so I decided, if I can't make anything right with anybody, and if my life just feels like this all the time, what is the reason for me even being here? So I OD'd. I ended up in the emergency room, had to drink that delicious charcoal stuff. It was cherry flavored, and they're like, oh, it doesn't taste that bad. It's terrible. And then I ended up spending a week in New Orleans at the psych hospital.
Thank you for sharing that. I know it's not easy, but once again, I've seen your growth, and I'm happy that you are where you are now. And that you mentioned in a bad environment, and he was so negative on a daily basis, and all of these different situations coming to you at different angles, that must have been hard. Let me ask you now, do you still have any of those suicidal thoughts?
No, absolutely not. I haven't had them since probably 2015 with the call center job.
Okay. I'm happy to hear that, babe.
Yeah, I've definitely throughout my journey and through the help of everybody that I've met at NAMI and, my great friends like Suzan, I've made a 180 jump for sure.
I've seen that. And Dan is a wonderful husband. He supports you. He adores you, puts you up on a pedestal.
Yes.
I don't blame him. And I'm glad that we're friends on this journey together. So you talk about some of the experiences you've had, the volatile job and then another really negative experience at the dentist office, right? Different other situations happening in your life. What was the turning point? Was there any other turning point aside from that second job that was interfering with your life?
The turning point for me, I knew that my life was going nowhere. As I said, I would stay at home. It would just be me and my dog. The only thing that I would do to break up the monotony is go to Target or go to my therapist's office every week. So I knew that something had to change. I just didn't know how. And so by chance, I decided, I want to make a knitting group at my apartment complex. And I ended up meeting this wonderful lady who told me about a church here in Houston, Hope City. And she said, I want you to go to church with me. I don't know if you're religious or anything, but I think you'd get a lot out of it. And the message of Hope City is find your purpose. What purpose does God have for you? And I knew my purpose wasn't to sit on the couch with my dog all day, and so that's how I first sought out doing online support groups, because who wants to go out in public and say, oh yeah, I have a mental health condition? Because the first thing people think, they go to stigmatizing statements of, you're crazy, did you take your meds, things like that. And so I really started doing those groups. I really enjoyed them. And then that's whenever I had heard from one of the group members say, oh, well, I'm starting this peer-to-peer class, talking about all the great things about it. So I looked it up and I said, oh, well, there's one starting next week. I'll go ahead and sign up for it, And like I said, the great thing about it was free. So if I didn't like it, I didn't have anything to lose except time.
Yeah. And support is so important, right? I'm glad you found that group. I remember when you were talking to me about it, I was super proud of you. And then now you're leading a support group and you sit on the board of NAMI.
I know.
That's amazing. So you also mentioned leaning into your faith during that time, right? And I can completely resonate with that because I was doing the same after the loss of my arm. Well, initially, I was mad at the world. I was angry. I was bitter. There are many moments where I did not want to be alive.
Yeah.
And I was self-medicating and doing a lot of things I'm not proud of. But I did start leaning into my faith, and I'm definitely closer than I've ever been, in my faith. And I feel like every day it does get a little easier, right?
Yeah.
It gets better, right?
Yeah.
But it's so important to surround yourself with good people. Surround
Absolutely.
yourself with people that support you and want to see you win and cheer you on. So you have that from me. You have that from Dan. There's so many people out there that love you.
Yeah.
And I want you to know that you can count on me.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
And the next question I was going to ask was, how did you move forward? But you answered that. Leaning into your faith, the support group, being involved with NAMI, right?
Yes.
Having a wonderful husband. Any other things that maybe you could share that could help someone else that's going through something similar that you were?
Sure. So when I went through the peer-to-peer class, one of the things was really taking ownership of your diagnosis, of your medical care, and just of your life. Because that's the thing. When I know for myself, whenever I was going through my mental illness and everything, I didn't take ownership for stuff. It was all, this is happening to me. Why is this going on and stuff? I had to take a stand and say, I'm the one that's in charge of my life. So I went to therapy. I went religiously every week for 3 years.
Look at you.
And me and my therapist, we had a great relationship. We grew together, and I really just followed everything that she was teaching me in those therapy sessions. It taught me how to set a boundary with people, because that's a lot of how people can hurt you and put you in a negative space, is when you don't set a boundary. If you allow them to talk to you in any way, people are going to. It's unfortunate, but that's just how it is. I learned how to do that. I learned how to speak up for myself. The best thing I ever heard was no is an answer. You don't have to say no and ...
No, but, right?
No is an answer.
You're right. I'm guilty of that as well, right? No, but maybe later, or no and, right? But no, a simple no. And setting boundaries as well is important. Any other great tips? This is good stuff.
I really looked into different hobbies that I could do to fill my time. One of the things too about with my mental health condition is I had lost who I was, and I really didn't like anything. So I really wanted to see what was out there, what I like. And of course, I like owning my dog. I love being married. I love being married. I definitely got the cream of the crop with husbands, for sure.
Dan,
Oh,
you're
Dan.
so sweet, Dan. No,
Yeah.
that's awesome. He's a great guy, and he's a comedian as well.
He
You
is.
should check out, his shows if you have a chance. Dan Hornstein, Google him. He's a real fun guy. I love that. And you know what? Now that I think of it, because I know I called you once talking about mental health and making sure I understood what mental health, mental condition, mental illness, what all of that really breaks down to, because I want to be completely delicate and respectful to use the right terminology.
Sure.
Can you drop some knowledge on me about that?
Sure. So a lot of times people go in there with the preconceived notion, again, with the stigma of, oh, this person might be crazy. I need to look out for myself. Oh, this person probably didn't take their medication, so I don't know what I'm getting. Just have an open heart and an open mind with people. The great thing about people is we're all on different journeys. We're all from different walks of life, and you never know who you're going to meet. I did a little bit of volunteer work with the homeless, and of course, the homeless people have a negative stigma about them. But the people that I met, it only took one thing for them to really change their life upside down, and now they're trying to crawl back out of that hole. But they're brilliant people, smart people. They have hearts. They just want somebody to love them back. And that's another thing too, is just when you're around people, just love them back, because sometimes they don't love themselves. So at least if they have somebody that can say, oh, you can call me if you need help, or you can email or text me.
Yeah. That means so much, right?
Yeah.
Just being there for people, letting them know that I'm here, that I care, I love you, and I want you around, right? Let me know if there's anything I can do. I love that. And what is the correct terminology? I think I asked you that before. Is it mental health, mental challenge? I mean, all of that. Can you just help me understand that?
I normally use mental illness and mental health condition.
Okay.
To be politically correct, it's mental health conditions.
Mental health condition, politically correct.
But you wouldn't want to use a label on somebody. You wouldn't say, oh, she's schizophrenic, or, oh, he's bipolar, oh, he lives with a mental health condition that happens to be bipolar disorder, or she lives with a mental health condition that she's diagnosed with schizophrenia. So that's the thing, is just taking that label off of people. Am I depression and anxiety? No. I'm Sarah.
Yeah, you're Sarah. Okay. And say it one more time. Seriously, please repeat that. No, you said, okay, I'm not depressed, I'm not anxiety, but you said you're diagnosed with that? No? What did you say?
Yeah, so you would really say that someone is diagnosed with a mental health condition, and that happens to be bipolar disorder. Just like, too, if you're talking about people who have intellectual disabilities, you wouldn't say so-and-so's autistic, so-and-so's diagnosed with autism.
Okay, right. So-and-so isn't autistic, obviously, but he lives with autism, right? But they're not autism, obviously. You're not depression, you're not anxiety, but you're diagnosed with that.
Yes.
Thank you so much. That's really great knowledge. I know for me it is. And we've had a conversation. I called you and I wanted to make sure because I was going to work with an organization, and I wanted to make sure I was saying everything politically correct, because I just want to make sure I was doing the right thing and saying the right thing, because that means a lot to me.
As long as you just use their name and don't put a label on them, you're good as gold.
Yeah. So username, don't put a label on them. And once again, I love that example. So if you know someone that is autistic, don't say, oh, that person is autistic, but they live with autism, or they've been diagnosed with depression, but don't label them as what they've been diagnosed with. That's good stuff, babe.
Yeah,
I like that.
Because I think once we get rid of the labels, it'll start to change the stigma of mental health conditions and mental illness.
This is such a good conversation, and I feel like it couldn't have come at a better time, right?
Yeah.
I mean, man, our emotions it's like a roller coaster, and also adding to the pandemic and jobs lost and, COVID. I mean, it's a really scary time for many of us. And of course, people that need to be out and need to be around people, that's taken away from them as well. They've got to stay home and quarantine and social distance. So I'm happy that you're here to spread some knowledge, and your energy is amazing. So I appreciate it, girl.
Well, thank you for having me.
Of course. So we are going to commercial break, and we'll be back in a moment.
Our nation is being seriously affected, not only emotionally, but also clinically. Parents or guardians dealing with a teenager in crisis that require transport to an appropriate treatment facility makes that decision even more difficult. My Armor Services Transport is here to help. Their agents are personal protection officers and private investigators, state certified and trained to accommodate firm boundaries and de-escalations, all while recognizing your loved one's sense of individuality and dignity. Most times your loved one will not respond favorably to being placed in a treatment program. Positive and safe transportation assistance becomes critical when violent or defiant behavior to a placement is anticipated. My Armor Services Transport understands this is a difficult time for you and your family. They are committed to transporting your loved one with dignity, respect, securely, and with compassion. Let them assist with this heavy burden. Call today at 1-800-341-0919 and let My Armor Services Transport be the first strong step you take toward resolving this difficult and complicated issue. COVID-19 transformed the way we do business. Now more than ever, fast lead generation and customer retention will determine if a business survives or not. The Now Media Video Business Card is designed to be sent using your smartphone. It's the next generation business card that will open the door for you while keeping social distancing. The Now Media Video Business Card is affordable for anyone from startups to multinational companies and is already being used by hundreds of businesses. Stay open, stay in business. Call us today.
The right tax team is key to any successful business. At America's Tax Firm, our goal is to help individuals and businesses of all sizes with accounting solutions and tax strategies that yield profitability, sustainability, and growth. At America's Tax Firm, we have a team of experienced tax consultants and advisors that can help your company optimize business strategies to minimize taxes and reduce liabilities. From preparing and filing your personal or business taxes, or choosing the right legal structure for your business, to resolving complex tax issues with the IRS, America's Tax Firm is your turnkey solution. Take a strong and decisive step and let America's Tax Firm be part of your success.
Hello, I'm Jose Hernandez, retired NASA astronaut, entrepreneur, and proud son of migrant farm workers. Our migrant families do very important work. Many follow the harvest and move frequently throughout the U.S. and thus have many needs. One way to improve your family's future is by participating in the 2020 census. The census only occurs every 10 years, but it affects public funding for clinics, schools, and other essential programs for our communities. Each person must be counted at the address where they live the most during the year. However, if you move frequently, don't worry. Simply fill out your questionnaire where you are living on April 1st, 2020. The information you provide is confidential and is not shared with other government organizations. The future of our families depends on you. So make yourself count before July 31st. For more information, visit the website 2020census.gov.
Welcome back to Be Better with Suzan. I'm so happy to have you here. There's a question from the audience. They want to know more about the volatile job that you actually experienced because they have gone through something very similar. So can you go into depth about that and how you're able to deal with that, Sarah?
So looking back on my job situation, because again, once you go through therapy, you're having to reflect back on a lot of your past situations to find out what was the core issue of this. So with all of those jobs, and even whenever things were going on earlier in my life, it was that I was always being told how to live my life. I wasn't allowed to actually live it for myself. And also, too, because I didn't know the skill of setting a boundary, I allowed people to talk to me in a way that is completely unnecessary. I allowed them to treat me in a way that I didn't feel like a person. So I found that the same behaviors would come out of people and the same thing would happen to me. Before I went to the hospital, I went to the hospital twice, but before the first time, I found that my triggers were I would drink a lot, and not eat, and also take all of those pills on top of everything. It's making like a chemistry lab in your body, and that's not safe. The same thing happened with the call center job. I would hate to go to work. I allowed all these people to talk to me in a way that was unacceptable. So I would go home and I would drink, and just drown my sorrows away. And from that, I knew that that was my trigger, when I didn't want to go to work, when I wanted to stay in bed all day. And again, I had the same attitude as before. I would sleep 2 days and then have to wake up and, I didn't do anything those 2 days. I just slept. Didn't do any laundry, didn't cook, didn't clean, didn't do anything. But again, going to therapy and having to reflect on that, I also knew these are the things that I will tolerate as somebody talking to me and treat me a certain way, and these are the things that I won't. Also, too, these are the ways that I'm going to react to these situations, and these are the things that I'm not going to do in those situations. So ever since that time, I haven't drank. So I don't need it.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I don't need it.
and just remind me, everything that you've learned before NAMI, how did you learn that?
I learned it through going to therapy. Like I said, I had a great therapist that one of the things I really liked about her was she had lived experience. She was also a person who lived in depression and came from a chaotic background and things like that. And one of the things that really inspired me about her was she was telling me that she went to college, started her freshman year undergrad when she was 40 years old, a single mom, and had 2 kids.
Wow.
And I think at the time she was like 55 whenever I was going to therapy. That inspired me too, because the mentality that I've always had was you have to get a job, you gotta go to college, get your job. That's just what you're gonna do your whole life. If you end up quitting, you're like an old maid and, but she showed me that, hey, I got it, I'm only 33, I got it, girl,
That's awesome.
So.
And I feel like that's limiting beliefs and how we're conditioned,
Yes.
right? We're raised and people say, okay, you need to finish school, you need to get married, you need to have kids, you need to do all of that. Sarah, my husband and I don't have kids, and of course we wanted to have kids, but we didn't have that opportunity to, and we're just making the best of what we have, right? I mean, there's so many things each of us want, but sadly we don't get everything we want, but we just really have to make the best of the situation. But I get it, being conditioned and limiting beliefs and this is how you're supposed to live, and you'll be happy, but that's not right, right? It's completely different. I feel like everyone has a different life, right? We just need to make sure that we're happy, however that happiness looks like.
Exactly.
And something else I'd like to bring up, your therapist sounds amazing. There's a stigma about having a therapist. How do you feel about that?
I ignore people because, like I said, this is my journey. This is the things that I've had to do to get to where I am. She helped me out a lot. Even before her, I had a great therapist when I lived in Baton Rouge, and I had a great therapist when I lived down in Fort Lauderdale. So to me, it's just like going to the doctor, like you go to your primary care doctor. I just see her every week because she helps me with my mind. You know, my mind's part of my body.
Absolutely.
And so if someone was to say, oh, well, only crazy people go see therapists and stuff, I just ignore them because that's not the way I want to be treated.
Absolutely.
And I don't have people in my life that do that.
Yeah.
You know, they ask me what it's like going to a therapist, you know, what kind of things do you even talk about, things like that. And that's another thing that I've learned is that people who are negative about anything that you do in your life, you don't need those people in your life.
Preach.
You need people that's going to lift you up, you know, because that's what life's all about, is about being happy.
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to have unhappy moments, but people shouldn't be bringing those on to you.
Yes, I agree. And your circle should support you however that looks like. If you want to go to a therapist, if you want to have a life coach, whatever you want to do, if that's going to help you be better, if that's going to help improve your mental strength, however that looks like, then do it, right? But I feel like there was a stigma back in the days, right, about having a therapist, but now it's so common.
Yeah,
right?
now people brag about it like, oh, hey, I went to see my therapist and then I went to Starbucks, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I watch movies and I'm like, wow, everyone has a therapist, and that's great.
Yeah.
If you're investing in yourself, in your mind, because you want to, you know, live the best life you can, do better and be better, why not?
Exactly.
Heck yeah, I love
exactly. And the one thing that I really got out of it was skills that I wasn't taught as a kid. You know, my parents, whenever they got angry, they blew up and let everyone know about it. They huffed and puffed and blowed your house down. But that's not acceptable in society. You know, so I either blew up or I became a doormat. Whereas going through therapy, again, that's where it comes to setting boundaries and limiting the way people talk to you. And also, too, it got me out of that all or nothing thinking, which is, like I was saying earlier about, you know, thinking that you go to college and you get your career, and if you quit while you're 30, then you're just an old maid. Well, no, you're not. That's all or nothing thinking. You still got a long life to go, you know, God willing.
Right. Yeah. And you're right about that. I love everything that I'm learning from you. I really do. And for people that have a therapist, that have just started and maybe feel like giving up and not returning to their therapist, is there anything you'd like to share about that?
Again, I say go in there with an open heart and an open mind. And just remember, they're people just like you are, so they're not perfect. They're not going to fix you in one session. Like I said, I went every week for 3 years.
Wow. Wow.
So I definitely put in the time. And also, too, as the person going to therapy, you have to put in the time as well. I got this great analogy from my psychiatrist that I keep with me till this day, is that your medical team, being that if you take medicine, you see your psychiatrist and you go to therapy, we're all a team. So if we're playing, let's say, basketball, and they throw me the ball and I don't take it, then how can we make a shot? You know, if I'm taking medicine and going to therapy, but I'm not using the lessons that I've learned in therapy, then what's the point of even going? So that's one thing I really took to heart. And I really got that feeling, again, that people cared for me and cared for my, you know, success and for me to get better. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you went 3 years straight. When did you start seeing some improvements in yourself? How long did that take?
Oh, it's hard to say. It just one day clicked. And I was like, man, I got this.
Wow.
You know, because I had been going to therapy. I'd seen therapists since 2012 because I went to the hospital 2 weeks before Christmas. But, you know, it kind of clicked that I can actually do these life skills that I'm being taught. You know, and if people don't like it, well, I can only control my actions and my emotions. I can't control their feelings. But it just all of a sudden, like a slap in the face, like, you know, sorry
Like,
to use
wow,
that. But
all
it was
right.
like, it was like, whoa, I got this.
Wow, I'm proud of you, girl.
Yeah.
And you're right. And something I learned as well, which was a hard lesson, was you can't control everything. You can only control what you have control of, right? So once you're in that place and you really process that and understand it, it does help in my life because I overthink about everything, right? But when I'm like, that's out of my control. then I feel a little bit better about it. But I love what you're sharing with us. We're going to go to commercial, and we'll be right back.
COVID-19 transformed the way we do business. Now more than ever, fast lead generation and customer retention will determine if a business survives or not. The Now Media Video Business Card is designed to be sent using your smartphone. It's the next generation business card that will open the door for you while keeping social distancing. The Now Media Video Business Card is affordable for anyone from startups to multinational companies and is already being used by hundreds of businesses. Stay open, stay in business. Call us today.
The right tax team is key to any successful business. At America's Tax Firm, our goal is to help individuals and businesses of all sizes with accounting solutions and tax strategies that yield profitability, sustainability, and growth. At America's Tax Firm, we have a team of experienced tax consultants and advisors that can help your company optimize business strategies to minimize taxes and reduce liabilities. From preparing and filing your personal or business taxes, or choosing the right legal structure for your business, to resolving complex tax issues with the IRS, America's Tax Firm is your turnkey solution. Take a strong and decisive step and let America's Tax Firm be part of your success.
Hello, I'm Jose Hernandez, retired NASA astronaut, entrepreneur, and proud son of migrant farm workers. Our migrant families do very important work. Many follow the harvest and move frequently throughout the U.S. and thus have many needs. One way to improve your family's future is by participating in the 2020 census. The census only occurs every 10 years, but it affects public funding for clinics, schools, and other essential programs for our communities. Each person must be counted at the address where they live the most during the year. However, if you move frequently, don't worry. Simply fill out your questionnaire where you are living on April 1st, 2020. The information you provide is confidential and is not shared with other government organizations. The future of our families depends on you. So make yourself count before July 31st. For more information, visit the website 2020census.gov.
Our nation is being seriously affected, not only emotionally, but also clinically. Parents or guardians dealing with a teenager in crisis that require transport to an appropriate treatment facility makes that decision even more difficult. My Armor Services Transport is here to help. Their agents are personal protection officers and private investigators, state certified and trained to accommodate firm boundaries and de-escalations, all while recognizing your loved one's sense of individuality and dignity. Most times your loved one will not respond favorably to being placed in a treatment program. Positive and safe transportation assistance becomes critical when violent or defiant behavior to a placement is anticipated. My Armor Services Transport understands this is a difficult time for you and your family. They are committed to transporting your loved one with dignity, respect, securely, and with compassion. Let them assist with this heavy burden. Call today at 1-800-341-0919 and let My Armor Services Transport be the first strong step you take toward resolving this difficult and complicated issue.
Welcome back to Be Better with Susan. I have my special guest, Sarah Hornstein, in studio talking about her mental health journey. And I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart sharing this. There are some parts that I'm sure wasn't easy to share, so I'm very grateful. So let me ask, how did you find your amazing therapist?
So it actually isn't that fairy tale of a story. I first need to talk about how I found my psychiatrist. So we had moved here from Fort Lauderdale to Houston, and I needed my medicine because unfortunately for me, I'm one of those people that if I just stop my medicine suddenly, I'm going to have side effects that come with it. And I needed to get my medication refilled. So my husband, because at the time moving here, again, you're going through a big life change. You know, I only lived in Florida a year and a half, so I really wasn't there. I blinked my eyes and I was gone. But he helped me out by calling our insurance, asking, you know, who was a great psychiatrist that lived close, because he knew, again, I wasn't going to drive very far. And luckily, the psychiatrist lived 2 blocks from where I lived at. So he's like, oh, that's perfect. You know, if she decides to get a wild hair one day and walk there, she could, you know, which I never did. It's too hot in Houston.
It is.
But
it is.
I met her, and I realized that I needed to go back to therapy because, again, I wasn't using those life skills that I had been taught by the previous therapist. And so she said, well, we have this therapist in the office, you know, her name is da-da-da-da-da. Make an appointment with her. I think you and her would click really good. And so I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot because I really liked my psychiatrist. And again, me and the therapist, we clicked because it was like, you know, fate had brought us together, you know.
Wow, that's awesome. And for other people that are on the verge of looking for a therapist, but once again, maybe nervous, what is some advice you could give them?
Some advice I could give people is pretty much interview your therapist. This is somebody that's going to be helping you change your life. So you want to make sure that you and the therapist, that you are on the same goals. If I was there with someone who rejected everything I wanted to try, that wouldn't have been the person for me. For therapists, I also have a demographic that I like to use. I like older women therapists. You know, some people might like a younger woman or a younger man or whatever. And also, too, don't read reviews that they have on Google and stuff like that, because people are never going to write the good stuff. They're always going to write the bad stuff. And, you know, you never want to dismiss somebody before you get to know them, because that's what you're going through as well, and why probably you need a therapist.
I love that. You're right about that, right? And I'm a coach, and I feel like when I have a discovery session with a potential client, I want them to feel comfortable. I want to be able to be on the same page they are, and let them know that we're after the same goal, right? So that's important, to be comfortable with the person, with your therapist, to make sure you guys are on the same page and she's inspired to reach your goals as much as you are. And also, when did it come to a point where you thought to yourself, you know what, I'm going to invest in myself and I'm going to look for a therapist?
Well, I think the first indicator really was trying to commit suicide. That's definitely like, there's your sign. So not a great one, but there was your sign. And I had started going just because that's what was the discharge instructions after you get out of the hospital, is go see this therapist, go see these people to get your medication and things like that. So at first, the people I was seeing was just run-of-the-mill, you know, whoever was around, and I wasn't getting anything out of it. So really, whenever I found my therapist, that's whenever I really started getting something out of it. But I didn't accept the, I guess, advice that was given to me until I got with the therapist here in Houston. So, because again, I'm feeling like I'm not worth it, and I'm really just going to get my husband off my back, if I'm being honest. Just kind of, that's what you do.
Yeah.
And once you finally let it click, and again, you open your heart and your mind to it, I think for me, that's whenever everything started coming together, all the lessons I learned in therapy.
I love that. But most importantly, what I hear you say is find someone that you're super compatible with, because you've had a couple of therapists, and like you said, the runaround, you weren't really feeling it, but when you met the right one and you guys are on the same page, it felt great, and she was able to open you up more. So that's really cool. So finding the right therapist. And if you're stuck in a therapist relationship and you're not feeling that person, it's okay to stop going and find someone else, would you say?
It is, yeah, because there could be times where you felt like you've exhausted all of the means with that therapist and you want to try something different. That's okay too, because remember, you're in charge of your medical care. So if you're not getting anything out of the relationship, then it's time to move on.
I love it. Thank you so much. That's such good information. Also, I want to ask Sarah Hornstein, how does life look like now for you?
So it looks pretty great. I mean, I hate that COVID-19 came because that got rid of a lot of the health fairs that I went to. Because in addition to one of my volunteer things is I am the health fair coordinator, and I also like going. So we'll go into schools, set up a booth, and I'll talk to people about mental health and, you know, how I'm a person who lives with a mental health condition. But before all of that, I was having a great time. I was able to get out of the house. Again, I was helping with the homeless. I would help do my support groups. And I was also training new volunteers who were going to be peer leaders at NAMI. And that felt great because, you know, being in my past, who would want to listen to me? What do I know? It felt great to teach someone. It really did.
And once again, I mean, I keep on telling you how proud I am, but I am. I love that your collaboration with NAMI. I think you're a great advocate. You've been there, you know, you felt the pain, you've gone through the struggles, and there's no one else that could advocate for NAMI and really help people live a better, happier life than you.
Yeah.
So NAMI, you got a good one over here. You really do.
That's maybe why they put me on the board of directors.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it. So I'd like to ask, in Be Better with Suzan fashion, all of the experiences you went through, all the struggles, all the pain you went through, how or has that made you better?
It really has, because you can't enjoy the great parts of your life if you don't know what the bad ones are. And so now I look at all the great things that I have in my life instead of the negative things. I mean, I have this great house in League City that has a great yard that
Congrats on that, guys.
that my dog can run around in. And, you know, we pay a mortgage for our house, not rent for, you know, somebody else's stuff.
Yes.
I also think, too, I have great friends. I mean, if I didn't have your friendship, I would never be on, you know, and I'd probably still be sitting on the couch somewhere. And it's just those things now, and go back to therapy to plug that again.
Yeah.
It's understanding the gratitude of the things that are happening to me rather than the bad things that have happened in my past, because I can't change that.
Absolutely.
But what I can do is change my attitude about what happened.
I love it so much. And they say what you focus on grows and what you think about expands, right? So we can think about the negative all day long. We can think about what we've been through, but what are we going to do about it, right? And how is life now? I'm sure it's way better. I'm sure it's beautiful. You have so much to be grateful for, but we got to look for those things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So life for me is really good. I'm still so stoked to be on the board of directors at NAMI. It's my first term. My term started in January, so I'm still a newbie. I'm learning everything that there is about being on a governing board. I'm also a part of the Public Policy and Advocacy Committee, so I'm learning how do we talk to our representatives and our senators and our local leaders about changing the topics of mental health and actually putting in money towards mental health. Because there are a lot of people who can't afford it, but if there's some kind of government subsidy that can help them out, why aren't we getting that? And that's the thing. I've had help, and I want to help other people as well. And that's getting in contact with our elected officials. So there's a lot of stuff going on. And
That's a lot.
yeah, that's a lot going on.
Go ahead.
But yeah, I'm very stoked about that. I can't wait till the programs ramp up again at NAMI and we can get some more classes going.
This is great. This has been such good information. I want to say again, I'm proud of you. I'll say it a million times. I don't care. I'm proud of you. I do love you. You've been a great friend. You and Dan are wonderful friends to me. Super supportive. We support each other, right? We have each other's back. And Golly, thank you for being my guest.
Yeah, thank you for
today.
having me. You know,
Yeah.
I wouldn't do a podcast for just anybody.
You're resilient. You're amazing. You inspire me. Thank you so much for tuning in to Be Better with Suzan, and we'll see you next time. Sending you good vibes and a great big hug.